guys all sign in?
No, where is that?
Just figured I would let you know now. Smells good.
So we get an orange. Oh, there it is.
I know, right?
Is someone peeling orange?
It's very fragrant.
Yeah, whatever.
I think I thought I saw you bring your laptop down.
The week of the.
Oh, I'll probably do that.
Oh, yeah.
Were you busy?
Becky, your voice is so big. I didn't expect four. I'm so terrible with their names.
How
are you?
Leslie is
When you
Sit back
get
here
four,
and
it's
just
so
sneak out.
My ring discovered the feeling because we decided to and they were like, oh. And then I noticed it was one of your boys. I'm like, guys, let's turn off the mic. And Greg was very good. He said, guys, mic is broken. Like trying to get them.
I think Carter actually put in but it's logistically. Probably. We're trying. No, we're not trying.
I want to send more
I didn't see her.
My youngest definitely ate a lot of food.
Somebody was doing it. I could tell there was like people standing around the corner, but I was like, all right.
Yeah.
That's who she. Oh, I didn't. And like ran upstairs.
Just answer me.
You're kidding. She's starting Monday. She's not gonna want to.
Yeah, just get like one more.
Of all things, yeah. I didn't get feedback because I wasn't willing to enter through a crowd where all the food, it was just, kind of where we're having with that.
All right, you guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started.
Good for him.
Thanks for coming. Make sure to sign in if you're here in person. There's a sign-in sheet at the back. If you're attending virtually, make sure to use the chat feature to let me know you're here. This is Troy Thompson from Parallel Technologies. He'll be going through 3 different phone systems, so I'm just going to kind of give you a little breakdown of the class. The first one he'll go through is Connect, which I think most of you have. He will also go through the small desk phone and then the bigger desk phone. So we will if you guys only have Connect, we'll start with that and you guys can go. And then we'll break down by the phones. So, because I don't want to bore you guys if you don't need to be here. So, with that being said, Troy, take it away. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Troy Thompson. I'm with Parallel Technologies, your vendor for your Mitel, formerly ShoreTel phone system. So I'm going to give you the soft phone, the Connect training first. So this is the Connect software you see up here. Hopefully everyone's used to using it. If you haven't, I'll just go through it as if you haven't used it before and try to show you all the features that are available to you. So this software can be run standalone and what's called a soft phone, where your computer is your phone, or it can work in conjunction with a desk phone here. And you'll see on the screen in the upper left-hand corner, I've got a pull-down menu where I can open my settings, which we'll touch on here in a bit, on the settings you can adjust. You can also edit your toolbar if you have one available. We'll talk about that. And there is also some handy links in here for the user guide and online training videos if you wish to read or watch more on the software. There's a lot of features and I may not cover all of them, so I'll try to get them all into the best of my ability without showing you things that you won't utilize. So, all right, so let's talk about soft phone versus desk phone mode. Here you'll see your name and extension number in the upper left-hand corner of the software. If you click on it, you'll get a pop-out window here, and you can choose, right now mine's in desk phone mode because I have a phone hooked up to it, or I can toggle if I'm not at my desk or working from home, I can toggle into soft phone mode. And when I do so, if I've got a specific headset plugged into the PC, I get a drop down to where I can choose. A lot of times the default will work, but this is basically my microphone audio path. So if I have a Bluetooth headset synced to my laptop, it'll show up here where I can choose it, or if I just have a regular plugged in set of earbuds with a microphone, I can choose that. There's also an option for external assignment, which is what you use to forward your calls to your mobile phone. And you can click here and just put in your mobile phone number or a landline. It works with a landline as well, any external phone number. You don't have to format it or put the 9 or the 1 in front of the number. You can just type the 10 digits in. Oh, I put it in the wrong place. This is the place for the name, and this is for the mobile number. And you can choose the number of rings to ring that device before it goes to voicemail. And there's an option here. You can choose press 1 to connect or automatically connect. So the difference in that is if you've got automatically connect selected, it'll ring through to your external number, and as soon as you answer it, you're connected to the other person. If press 1 to connect is selected, which is the default, by the way, when you answer the call, the phone system will actually tell you you have an incoming external call from, and it'll read off the caller ID, and you have to press 1 to connect. It'll say press 1 to connect the call. So that's your choice. If you do choose automatically connect and your cell phone voicemail picks up before the ring timer expires, so maybe you silence it and send it to voicemail, or the number of rings is set higher than the amount of your cell phone's voicemail, it will go to your cell phone voicemail if automatically connect is selected. So press 1 to connect is kind of a fail-safe to keep it out of your mobile voicemail. Yes?
When it reads off the caller ID, if the system identifies the individual's name, will it tell you that as well, or just spit out the phone number?
It just spits out the phone
Okay.
number.
Thanks.
So if I choose add here, if that's not already in there, and I've got external assignment selected, phone calls now ring directly to this phone number instead of soft phone or desk phone. So I'm going to put myself, since we're doing soft phone training first, I'll put myself back in soft phone. And if you do have a desk phone and you're in soft phone or external assignment mode, your desk phone will say anonymous on the screen because your extension exists elsewhere. It's not on the phone anymore, meaning your phone won't ring, and you probably cannot make any calls on your phone while you're in soft phone or externally assigned. All right, so let's talk about how to make and receive calls from the Connect client software. So up here is my directory search as well as my dialer bar. So if I click here where it says name or number, I'll get a window that pops out that shows the full system directory. Also, if you have Outlook, address book, personal contacts in your desktop Outlook, they will sync over here as well. So I can scroll through here and find someone I'm looking for and click on them, or I can type a name, first name, last name, it'll search by, it will search the phone system directory as well as your Outlook contacts. And I see the contact here. On this screen, I get availability state, which says is available, and there's a green circle with a check mark, so that means that person's available. They're not on the phone. If they were on the phone, it would be orange and show on the phone. If they were in meeting mode, it would be yellow. If they were out of office, vacation, custom, do not disturb, all of those will show as a red circle here. So you'll know before you call the person whether their phone's even going to ring or it's going to go straight to voicemail. So to dial this person, I click on their name and I click the dial button here. Also, if it's an Outlook contact, I'll show you what that looks like. And there's multiple phone numbers associated with that Outlook contact card. You'll get a choice. You can click on the number you want to dial. So I'll click dial and it will start my call. To get rid of any windows that pop out that may be in the way, or you want to minimize this screen, you click the minus symbol in the top of that window. And now I'm back to compact view. My active calls or ringing calls or any calls that are on my phone or my extension will show up in the lower left-hand corner of the screen. And to select them, I just click once and my call control window pops out here. So here in the call stack is what we call it, because the calls stack up in order. I've got a mute button. This is my hold symbol, the pause icon, and this is my hang up button. If you are looking for a function, you don't know what the icon means, just hover your mouse over top and it will pop up and tell you what that button does. Alright, so it will give me a call timer below the caller ID information here. Covered mute, hold, green is answer or unhold. If you have access to it, you can click this to record your call, and any calls recorded will go into your own personal voicemail box so you can listen to them later as a voicemail. The person with the plus sign next to his head is add participant, which is the same as pressing a conference button on the phone if you want to conference somebody in to an active call. The telephone receiver with the arrow is a transfer. This is my move call button, and we'll talk more about that in a bit. If you've got a mobile phone set up for simultaneous ring, you can click that and it would transfer the call to your mobile phone. And the three dots you can choose. You get a couple more options which most people don't use, but you can send it to your voicemail mid-call. Person just to leave you a voicemail, you have to run for emergencies. So I've clicked transfer here, and I want to transfer the call to someone else. I get a drop down where I would type a name, extension number. You can type a 10-digit phone number in here. All those will work, and then make the selection from the search. And you've got options: transfer, which is a blind transfer. It will send the call directly to that person and it will leave your phone. If they don't pick up, it goes to their voicemail. And it looks like a blind incoming call. They don't see that you're the person that transferred it to them. A consult will put the caller on hold and do what's a warm transfer, consultative transfer, as it's called in the documentation. So if I choose consult, you'll see it places the original call on hold, and it's now consulting with my training phone here. And now I'm talking directly to them. The original caller is still on hold, so I can say, well, I'm transferring Y, and give them an option to take the call or not. And I get a choice on the screen for complete, which puts the transfer through, or cancel will drop the second line and come back to the original call. And you'll see here it's active, meaning they're back on the line. They're no longer on hold. Also available in transfer, you may or may not use these features, but intercom will start a transfer, but will open up the intercom to the other phone. If that is grayed out, that means you don't have access to the intercom feature. Park will park the call on that phone, meaning it sets the call on hold on that phone without ringing it. So maybe you know that person's on a call, but you still want to park the phone call there so they can see they may have an important call they need to switch over to. You can do that, or if you need time to go find the person or go pick the call up on a different phone, that's how you would use the park feature. And I believe the timeout for park, it's adjustable by phone system, but it's probably 2 minutes here. If a park call is not picked up and the time the timer expires, it rings back to you, so that it rings back to the phone that parked the call originally. And I've also got a voicemail transfer. If I click that, it'll go straight to that person's voicemail, and it will not ring their phone. Any questions about transfer before I move on? Park. All right, so let's cover conference here, which is the add participant button. So if I click on that, same thing, I get a drop down. I can type, again, a 4-digit extension, a 10-digit phone number, or a first or last name. It will search the directory, and I choose the correct match. And I've got 3 options here. Conference, which is an instant conference, meaning as soon as the other person picks up, it's going to merge the calls together. So the caller never goes on hold. They'll hear the other person answer. They'll hear their line ring. So that's generally not a good idea to use for a conference unless the other person's expecting it to be an instant conference. Consult is what I tell people to normally use. So again, consult puts the original caller on hold, rings the other phone, and allows you to consult with the other party before merging the calls together. So once they pick up, you'll get an option here to complete or cancel, just like you would a consult or transfer. If I click complete, it merges the calls together, and now you'll see you have conference 2 calls. And if I click show list, I can actually see the individual people I'm speaking with. And maybe I need to drop somebody off the line and they didn't hang up their phone all the way, and I need to keep the call going with the other parties. I can do so. Alright, that's how conference works. Let's talk about incoming calls quickly. I'll show you what that looks like. I'm sure you're all used to it. So if I've got an incoming call and my software is open, I'll see a pop up in the bottom right hand corner. I can click accept or ignore. Ignore will send it to my voicemail. Accept answers the phone. So now I've got an active call here. If I'm on the phone and I get a second call, I will be able to accept the incoming call, and it will automatically put my first call on hold. So you see I've got an active call, and someone else calls me. I'll get the pop-up here. I'll also get in here, if you're already focused on this window, in my call stack, I can click answer, and you'll see my original call went on hold, and the second call is now active. I can switch in between them by using the green answer or unhold button, and you'll see it puts the other call on hold, so I can toggle back in between. I've also now got a merge icon here. If I want to conference those 2 calls together, I can do so by clicking the merge icon. I get speakerphone echo. So now I've got my 2 calls here. I've now merged the call that way. So you can set up a conference call that way if you choose. All right, moving on, let's talk about availability state here. So availability state is basically your phone in voicemail mode. So you'll see if I click this drop down, I've got a choice of my 6 different availability states, 7 actually now. I've got available, which means I'm available to take a call. I'm not on the phone. If somebody calls my phone's going to ring, and it's going to go to my voicemail and play my standard default voicemail greeting. If I choose a different availability state, I'll now show that and everybody else's Connect software that I'm in a different state, and my phone is now, all my calls are going to go to voicemail when somebody calls me. All of these availability states by default, besides available, are like do not disturb modes, meaning your phone will never ring and automatically forwards your calls to voicemail. The reason they give you all the different availability states is 3 different reasons. One, they're customizable, so you have different call routing for each state. So maybe when you're in a meeting, you always want your phone calls to go to voicemail. If you're out of office, maybe you want all your calls to ring your cell phone. If you're on vacation, you probably want them all to go to voicemail. Or maybe you want to forward all your calls to a coworker while you're on vacation if you need someone else to take your calls for you. Do not disturb is not customizable. That will go straight to voicemail. And custom, if you choose custom, you can pick a color and type of custom status. So for custom, I'll name mine out to lunch. You can change this or leave it every time. So now I will show out to lunch in other Connect softwares if I choose that state. All of these are configurable and routable. So if I want to edit one of these, I can click the pencil icon next to them, and I can type an additional note that displays if someone moves their mouse over my name in their Connect software. I can also customize, yes.
Oh, I was just gonna say that on vacation, is it pretty user-friendly to go ahead and have it routed to your boss or another colleague?
Yeah, yep, so that is found in the settings menu. If you want to edit your call routing settings, I choose the Connect menu drop down here and choose settings. And now I click on call routing on the left hand pane, and I've got all kinds of options in here. First, I can choose my availability state I want to edit, so I'll do vacation. And you can do a wizard or change each individual option here. So I'll just step through the wizard to show you all the options available. So your first one is called simultaneous ring. This is generally used with available state because all the other states are designed to go to voicemail or go to someone else, but you can set up simultaneous ring for all your states if you'd like. And what that means is you put in an external number here and it will simultaneously ring your desk phone along with the other phone number that you put in here. You can actually put 2 different numbers in here if you'd like. If you've got 2 cell phones or you want to ring a coworker's cell phone or something, you can do that. So I check the box that says simultaneously ring and then click the drop down for select number. I've already put my mobile phone number in here somewhere else in my external assignment so it's available to select. If it wasn't in already, you'd have to select an available box here, type the label on the left hand column and the phone number on the right. And I've again got the options where I can choose press 1 to connect or automatically connect and the number of rings to try. For external assignment and simultaneous ring anywhere where you're going to forward your calls or ring a mobile device, the default is, I believe, 3 rings on this, which is never enough to answer a cell phone in time and press 1 to connect. There's always a 1 ring delay with mobile phones. So I always recommend 5 or 6 as a general rule for a mobile phone, especially if you have this press 1 to connect, because you'll need that extra time to hit the dial pad. So I click use selected number, and now my mobile phone will ring simultaneously. For my incoming call forwarding, this is where you would, instead of going to voicemail or ringing your phone, you would send it to your boss's phone while you're on vacation or however you want to set this up. So I've got the default for vacation is always forward my calls to voicemail. I'll just choose the drop down and click in the forward call to field where I can type in an extension number. I can type in a name which will search the directory. I can type in a 10-digit phone number. So now when I put myself in vacation, it's always going to forward my calls directly to that other extension. On the next screen, you can also change your voicemail greeting. So you press the record button, the phone will go off hook and beep, and then you can record your new voicemail greeting. If you're in soft phone, it'll be on your headset or microphone. If you have a desk phone, it'll actually take your desk phone off hook and beep. And you can record it through that speakerphone, or if you pick it up, use a handset. If you like the recording, click save. Yes.
For the like routing calls, do you have to do both the external assignment and the call routing for like which, or do you prefer one over the other?
No, so that's a good question. The difference is with external assignment, it will always, it puts your desk phone in anonymous, and that's like traditional call forwarding. All your calls instantly go. Under call routing, you can set it to ring. If it's simultaneously ring, it'll ring both your desk and your mobile. If it's the always forward call function, it would go to, if you're forwarding it to an external extension number, it's going to ring that extension, and then if they don't pick up, it goes back to your voicemail. External assignment, you can make it go to your cell phone voicemail, for example. Also, with external assignment, you cannot externally assign your calls to an internal 4-digit extension. It only takes an external phone number. So that's a good question. Another couple options in here, there's a section for callers are allowed to leave a voicemail, which use with caution, because if you say no, callers are not allowed to leave a voicemail. It'll play your voicemail greeting, but it'll hang up on them until they can't leave a message. So maybe if you're on an extended absence or leave of absence, and you want to tell them that your voicemail message, but then say, press 0 for immediate assistance, you will not be able to leave a voicemail. So you can do that on that screen. So any changes you make in here, just always make sure to click the save button when you're done to save them. There's another tab here called Power Routing, which you may or may not use, but you can do customizable rules based on a number of criteria. Caller ID number, so if you want to play, you always want to send a particular number to voicemail or play a separate ringtone. You can do that based on caller ID, based on time of day, day of the week, all that's available in here. I won't get too deep into this, but if you click create rule, you'll just have to name it. So I'll call this lunch, and I'll say when time of day is 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. And if you click time is a second time, you'll get day of the week if you would like to choose a day of the week as well. And click forward call to voicemail, or maybe you want to do your mobile number here, or somebody else's phone, or a different extension. You can do that with a power routing rule. You can also do play a ringtone and choose a different ringtone. That that's really only if you have a desk phone, and it's only going to work with the larger phones. Just FYI. So that's how power routing works. While I'm in this screen, I'll go to a couple of other options in here. So your voicemail, turn on envelope information. That's if you dial into the phone system to check your voicemail through a traditional method, you'll hear the caller ID and date and time the message was left as you're listening, before you listen to it, each message. Under Setup tab, you can change your voicemail password in here or re-record your voicemail name. If you don't know what voicemail name is, or in here it's called default voicemail greeting. What that is if you don't record a full personalized greeting, the system will just play your name when someone gets your voicemail box, whatever you record, and then it will give us canned system greeting for his, we'll say it's not available, please leave a message after the tone. In Outlook options, some of you may notice when you get a voicemail on your Connect, you'll also see the voicemail in your Outlook, not as an email, but as like a play control, where you can actually delete it from Outlook and it deletes it from your voicemail box. That Outlook integration checkbox is here. You can turn it on or off. Voicemail to email is also an option. So those of you that like to listen to your voicemails on another computer or your mobile device, you can turn on voicemail email notification. Check this box here. It says send email notification, and you can also check the box that says attach voicemail as WAV file. That will give you that sound file you can listen to from another device. And the third box, mark voicemail as heard. If you have a desk phone or the Connect client, and as soon as it emails you, it turns the light off on your phone. It marks it as heard in your Connect client, so you don't have to listen to it in there to get rid of that unheard voicemail. Sounds, you can change audio alerts in here, especially if you're on soft phone. You can turn alerts on or off, and you can even change, there's a couple different sounds you can change. You can even upload new sounds in the form of WAV files. And the third tab, pop-up notifications. You can increase or decrease the timer. You get the pop-ups for incoming calls. You don't have instant messaging, incoming voicemails. If you like those, or maybe they don't appear on the screen long enough for you. The last is soft phone settings. So if you have a Bluetooth headset or a wired headset, USB headset you plug in, you should come in here, and you use soft phone, you should come in here and change your default audio path so it always selects that when you go into soft phone mode. You can also check the box that says on startup, assign me to soft phone automatically. So if you are exclusively a soft phone user without a desk phone, you want to have this box checked, so as soon as you open the client, it will automatically move to soft phone mode without you having to click on the toggle button. Alright, that is it for settings and call routing. Any more questions about any of that before I move on? Okay, let's talk about contacts, favorites, and groups. So this window here, it kind of serves a few different purposes. It kind of acts like an operator console, a speed dial list, a buddy list, favorites list, and you've got two tabs, favorites or groups. We'll talk about the differences, but they basically work the same way. So you'll notice favorites here is blank, mine's not set up. To add someone as a favorite, you have to click in the directory search, find them in the directory, and then click the star next to their name. When it turns blue, they're now a favorite. So you can add, I believe, up to 100 entries in your favorite screen, and you can leave this up at all times so you can have a quick glance to see who's on the phone, who's out of the office, who's in a meeting. You can double click on an entry in this screen to speed dial somebody. Now you'll see how that icon turns orange, so I'll know that person's on the phone just by looking. I can move my mouse over their name, and I can see if they have a custom status written here. So if it's red, you won't know if they're out of office, vacation, etc., unless you move your mouse over their name and you'll see here it says available. Put their autofill. You can also use this screen for drag and drop blind transfers or parking. So I will start a call. So I have a connected call and I want to quickly blind transfer a call to somebody in my favorites list. I'll click on contacts and I come down here to my call stack. Anywhere in the white space you can click, hold your mouse button down, drag it over, and you can either drop it instantly or if you hover it will give you a menu. Blind transfer, blind conference, or park. Groups work very similar, but you can set these up just into different groupings. So maybe you want to have a favorites list, and then you want to have a separate groups list. So you can add external contacts to this. Break it up by department, however you want it listed. So I'll use my plus sign and choose add group. I'll name my group however I'd like. And you click on the group members box and begin typing a name. You can put an extension number. It can be an external contact as well. You can add an external contact to favorites also. They'll show up in your directory search. Then once you have all your members to your groups, your current group you're editing set up, you can click create. If you want to remove someone from a group, you click the X next to their name to delete them. So now I've got a group set up here. I can add a bunch of groups with different members. I've also, yes.
For groups more on like an admin side, can we set up groups that like everyone has access to already?
No, this
Everyone
is
has
a
to do it
personal.
individually?
Yeah, it's a client side
Okay.
setting, so everyone will have to set their own up. You can sort by different criteria: first name, last name, availability state, last contact state, or whichever order you've added to them to that group. You've also got a view. Yours may be defaulted to this large detailed view. So if you've got a bunch in here and you want to fit more on the screen, you can change it to compact. You can resize this window some, height-wise, width-wise, but you can't make it smaller than this. There's also a button, a thumbtack here to pin it. So every time you go back to your contact screen, it will come back up on that view. To edit a group, you've got your slider bar settings icon. You click on that and it will pop out the group edit window. I can click the pencil here to edit the group, add or remove people to it. You'll also see these start chat, start meeting icons, which will be grayed out because you do not have the feature on the system. But there's a send voicemail, so you can send a group voicemail to everyone in there. All right, so moving on, recent. That's just my call history. It would, if you have a desk phone, it's the same history that shows on the phone by pressing the history button or redial on this model. It's listed in chronological order by most recently on down to the oldest, and you'll see a time, a date, if it's a prior day, The duration is listed below the time and the caller ID. And you'll see an icon to the left, so an upward pointing arrow to the right is an outbound call. Down and to the left is a call that came into you. And there may be an icon that looks like an arrow bouncing off, which is a missed call. If I wanted to redial someone from the screen, I click, move my mouse over the phone number, click on it, and it redials that number. You can also search it. You can search it by caller ID or name. So if you want to see all the contacts made to someone with the name Troy, type in Troy. One thing about caller ID in the software, so caller ID is delivered a couple different ways. Usually you get the phone number and sometimes you get a name from the phone company. If that person doesn't have outbound caller ID on their system, you'll probably just get a phone number. Sometimes you'll get a city and state, or they say wireless caller. But if you have somebody in as an outlook contact and it's synced over here, you'll get it'll match the phone number with the name automatically on the caller ID. All right, so quickly we'll talk about voicemails. I'm gonna leave myself a voicemail here. I can show you what that looks like. I'll ignore the call to send it to voicemail. Hi Troy, give me a call back as soon as possible. My number is 614-555-1212. Someone's left me a voicemail. I'll get a pop-up in the lower right-hand corner. It says voicemail 7 seconds, and I'll also see these notification icons. I've got this as a missed call. It shows next to recent. So if you want to get rid of that and review your call history, you can click on recent, and I'll see that arrow bouncing off. And this is when I've got one unheard voicemail. So if I click on that, I can listen to it here. And I've got a play button. Pause it. I can rewind it by clicking in here in this area. So if it's a real long voicemail and someone just rattles off the phone number at the end and you don't catch the whole number, you can click towards the end of the message and just review that portion only, so you don't have to listen to the whole message again. I can delete the message with my delete button. And when I do that, it sends it to a deleted voicemails folder here. And if I accidentally delete it, I can click on here and restore it. That's not a recycling bin. It's purged nightly, so don't leave anything in there hoping to come back and get it the next day. It's only there to restore messages that you delete by accident. And I've also got a reply button. So if it's an internal phone call and you click on reply, you can record a voicemail message to send back to that person. Maybe if you don't want to talk to them on the phone, I guess you would use that feature. Just send them a message. You've got a forward button, so if you want to forward voicemails to someone else's voicemail box, you can do that. Click forward and then type the name or an extension number. You can forward it to multiple people at the same time. This is just like sending an email. You can click record to record a voice memo in front of the voicemail. So if you want to tell a person, listen to this message, this person needs you to call them back, not me. You can click record, the phone will beep at you, and you can record the memo before sending the message off. And it's got flags here: urgent, private, return, receipt. Just like email, urgent will just mark it an urgent message. Private will make it so they can't forward it to somebody else. But if that person has voicemail to email on, they can still forward the email message. So keep that in mind. And receipt will give you a pop-up notification here in the software once that person listens to that message. And you've got a toggle here, you may or may not have one, if you have a desk phone and the Connect software, you can toggle it to play through your PC speakers versus your desk phone. So that's what that was for. All right. That's voicemail. The events tab will not be used. That's for a conference bridge feature. Yes?
It says on there save, so
Yes.
where does it go if you save it?
It doesn't go anywhere. It just flags it as a saved message. So if it's an important message that you want to filter out, you can click on the save tab up here to like filter out important messages.
Okay, then how much time are you allotted in voicemail to save it before it says you're running out of time?
So they don't auto delete. That's not set up. You can just leave them all in there. It will fill up. You'd have to contact your administrator to find out how many, it's max messages versus a time limit.
But I know, but sometimes I'll save a lot of voicemails and I'll get a notification that says your mailbox is almost full or something like that. So if I go back and I hit and I put it in save, does that open up more space?
No, it does
here?
not. You still are limited by that
So I'm
maximum.
gonna have to delete, still delete even though I've got something saved.
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct. Saved is kind of just to flag it with this icon and be able to filter it out using this tab here. So you know it's an important message, not to delete it. It's just for your record. All right. Do you guys have toolbars set up on the side here? So it looks like there may be, yeah, so there is some toolbar links here. So let's talk about this side toolbar. If you have this option to show toolbar, you can click it and it will pop up here and you can add available toolbar buttons. It looks like there's only a few set up for this user group I'm in, but maybe you've got different buttons for different groups. So here's a quick toolbar button to record my call, to park the call, and the training link, which is a URL that opens it. Looks like. So that's how your toolbar works. Looks like clicking this one will just record a call that I'm on. Clicking this one will initiate a park, and this one takes me to a web URL. It looks like it comes to the Mitel site for interactive video training. Nice. All right, so that's how toolbars work. If you don't like it, you don't use it, you can get rid of it by clicking on it. All right, so that's all I have for the Connect software. Are there any questions about that before we move on to the phone? No? Okay. If you don't have a desk phone, you're welcome. Thank you.
Troy, are you gonna show the small one first?
I can,
I don't know, when you guys
normally I
have
just kind
small.
of explain the differences.
Katie, you have
I
small.
have a large.
You do?
Wait, I don't know. I need to look real quick.
So this one has
Most people
no
have.
buttons for multiple calls. This one has 3 call buttons.
Okay. I have small, sorry.
That's usually what Swati sets people up on.
This phone is very basic. It's really meant to use in conjunction with the Connect client software. It's basically an audio piece that you can dial numbers on. But I'll cover your basic functionality of this one here. So
You guys can just scoot closer, feel free.
yeah, please. Let's see. This is the Mitel IP, which is actually Shortel, which is now Mitel. 115 phone. It's got a basic speakerphone on it. It's not great quality, but it's functional if you need to listen to a call on speakerphone. and there is no headphones jack, so it's really meant to be used within the software or just making and receiving one call at a time. So here's my volume control in the bottom left-hand corner. This controls your ringer volume and your call volume. So if you're not on a call and you press it up, it turns the ringer volume up or down. Or if your phone's actively ringing, you can use it to adjust, turn it up or down during the ring. If you are on speakerphone, which is this button here next to the handset, it controls your speakerphone volume. And if you're on a handset call, it controls your handset volume. So if your phone's ringing and you want to answer on speaker, you can press speaker. If you press speaker and then dial a call, it'll go across the speaker. If you dial a call and don't pick up the handset, you just dial it, it's going to default to the speakerphone, which I forgot to put my phone back. Forgot to assign myself back to my desk phone, so this phone is not working. Alright, so if I'm on speaker and I want to move to the handset, I can just lift the handset and it'll pick it up. If I'm on the handset and I want to move it to speaker, I press speakerphone first and I can set the handset down. You get this back up so I can make my other phone work here.
Can we cover transferring calls? I'm always just wondering if I did it correctly.
Sure. Yeah, we will.
Do you ever use the Connect like that pops up with this? No. That makes a difference.
Okay.
Yeah, so it makes a difference. You can just use this as a phone if you don't do all the advanced stuff that you can do in the Connect software. That's fine. So I've got an active call here. On your display, you're going to see the name or the phone number of the person you're talking to while you're on a call. And your feature buttons are directly below the screen. So to transfer a call, when you've got a caller on the line, you've got a button here that says transfer. So you press that, and you'll get dial tone. So you know you can punch in a digit, and you just punch in the number. So if it's an internal extension, just dial the extension number. And you've got two options. You can either just hang up immediately and it would be a blind transfer. You don't care if that person answers or if it goes to voicemail. Or you can hold the line and wait for it to ring through. And when they answer, you can talk to them first. And then as soon as you hang up, that's when the transfer is complete. So it's the same process for both. It's transfer, extension number, and hang up. So if you hang up immediately, it's a blind transfer. If you wait for them to pick up, it's a consulting transfer.
I have a question about that. So I did that recently and the person I was calling, their voicemail picked up. And so ultimately I wanted to transfer the caller to their voicemail, but then they never got the greeting because I had listened to the greeting.
The greeting should start over for them when
Oh,
you
okay.
hang up.
Okay, so once you hang up, the greeting restarts. Great,
Correct.
I didn't realize that.
Yep,
Thank you.
That was a good question.
yes.
Happy to say for 4 years I've been transferring correctly. I just feel like a lot of times I go to the desk,
Yeah.
a lot of times I go over and I'm like, did you get that call a couple minutes later? And they're like, no. So I'm like, maybe it's because I'm doing the blind, but.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
and that's another point. The downside to this phone is it's really meant, if you're gonna be dealing with multiple calls and transferring a lot of calls, it's really meant to be used in conjunction with the software, or it's just a courtesy phone. But it's functional as just a phone if you're just transferring a call or two or making outbound calls or want to deal with one call at once. Because on this phone, there's soft keys where you can cancel transfers, bring them back, and toggle in between calls. This phone's got a hold button on it. You can put a caller on hold, but you can't. There's no other button. You'd have to press hold, set the handset down, and then when it starts, the second call starts ringing, you can pick it up that way. And but you would have to finish and hang up on the other person before you can go back to the original call. So when a caller is on hold, we'll talk about that quickly. So I've got a caller on the line and I press hold. It says call on hold on the screen. And if I want to pick that call back up, I pick up the handset, it picks it back up as a hold. Also, you can press your hold button again and it picks it back up. Your other function keys here, conference, and this phone, you have to press conference a second time to complete it. So I want to conference somebody into my call, I press conference, it puts the original caller on hold, I get dial tone, and if I want to conference in an outside person, I just have to dial the 9 first before the number. Or I can dial a 4-digit number and conference them that way. So my other caller is still on hold. And once they pick up, you can talk to them and warn them you're going to conference them in. And to merge the calls together, press conference again. And now you've got a 3-way conference call. When you hang up on a conference call, even if you initiated it, the other two can continue to talk. You're not going to drop the call until everybody hangs up. You guys use intercom? Does anyone use intercom here? No. The intercom, if you do use it, if it's not disabled.
I think it's disabled, isn't it?
I don't think so.
No?
No.
Cool.
It is.
But I
Gonna
wouldn't
start
probably not
using an
recommend
intercom.
Yeah, it looks
Especially
like
not on the floor.
it rang like a regular call when I intercom this phone, so it is disabled at least
Oh, it is. Okay.
for the user group. It's a user group setting, so
I
maybe
think some people
have it. So if you don't know, if somebody intercoms you, if they have access to intercom, your phone will beep and open up speakerphone automatically. So that's what intercom, you can just talk speakerphone to speakerphone. If it's disabled, it'll ring like a regular call. Redial, you got a redial function, so to redial your last caller, you press redial. You have to lift the handset. Or if you're already off hook and you press redial, just redial the last call. And checking voicemail. If you press voicemail, you get your chime here, and you put in your password for your voicemail box. There's all kinds of options inside the voicemail box. If you want, there's a quick reference card that can be provided that kind of shows you an options tree from within voicemail. If you don't have those, I can email it to you. But option 7 is your mailbox options. If you want to change your greeting or change your recorded name or password, you choose option 7 once you log into your voicemail box, and it will list off all the options. You can change your availability state from your phone using that option 7. To listen to your messages, if you have a message waiting, your red light in your upper right-hand corner will blink, and then option 1, it'll tell you have unheard messages, and option 1 is to listen to your messages. All right, that's this phone. Any have more questions about this phone? And I'll just cover quickly.
Does anyone have that phone? You guys don't have
No,
that phone?
thank you.
Anyone in this
Feel free
room
to
have
go.
this phone?
Yeah.
All right,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone's still watching.
I'm really excited about the vacation function.
Yeah.
So we all have hard phones
So-
and we just switched to the